Is it recording? Yes, it is. Okay. Hey, everybody. John here, John the Other, and so on and so forth, obviously. And the first thing I want to point out, which is not the topic of this video, is this curtain looks like there's like a really bright sunlight coming through it, and it is bright outside, which is, of course, why I have this curtain, because otherwise, you know, the camera will get blown out. But to my eyeball, to my actual physical eyes, this is mostly black. The amount of light that you can see on the camera here coming through is vastly more than the amount of visible light that I can see when I look at this just with my actual eyeball. And I suspect that what is happening is that the camera picks up a wider range of light frequencies, of light wavelengths, and is shifting some of the non-visible ultraviolet light into the visible spectrum in the digital recording. So a lot of this, what seems to be visible white light in the video, is actually ultraviolet being digitally shifted so that you can see it. Because when I look at it, I can see a bit of light coming through this, but nowhere near as much as you guys can see on the camera. And I'm watching the video of myself as it gets recorded. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. That's not the topic of this video, though. The topic is the LGBTQ pronoun game, where people go, "Hi, my name is Frank, of indeterminate gender, and my pronouns are they and them, and or this and that, or A and B, whatever the hell the pronoun game is that gets played. My pronouns are they, and like, are there more than one of you?" And of course, I'm talking about this from Canada, where we have Bill C-16. And I've talked about this in the past, that the formerly innocently foolish game of "these are my pronouns" has been turned into quite a serious threat by the passage of a law called Bill C-16, which means that if somebody tells you they're alternative ding-dong pronouns, and they are all ding-dong pronouns, for God's sakes, my pronouns are A and B, or whatever, my pronouns are something and something else, and you don't then use those pronouns, whatever made-up nonsense they tell you, you are guilty, or you can be found guilty in a human rights tribunal, which is where you get dragged in, where the normal rules of procedure and law don't apply. These are kangaroo courts, and they're different rules in every province, and they don't conform to English common law or the actual legal system, although the decisions of the kangaroo court human rights commissions are ratified by the actual court. So whatever their decisions are, which don't actually follow the law, are then ratified as if they're decisions of a legitimate court. So it's very bad news. And what that means is any LGBTQ LMNOP person who then tells you my pronouns are A and B, or C and D, or this and that, they might think they're just trying to tell you an alternative form of address. But because of the law, that innocent expression has been turned into quite a deadly threat. They're offering you a threat. And I have formerly talked about dealing with this threat and taking it seriously, and saying anybody who introduces themselves by saying, "Hi, my name is so-and-so, and my introduction comes with a threat," it's from my breakfast. I don't normally keep a knife on my desk. That you should say, "Fuck off, I'm not going to deal with you because you've just introduced yourself and threatened me in a very serious way." And I'm going to modify that position, because most people are innocent fools, and I mean that. I mean that in the kindest way. Most people are clueless, innocent fools, including LGBT people, who are maybe even more clueless and innocent than most. Although certainly there are, examples of the opposite of that. There are malicious and evil LGBT people who are using the law as a weapon consciously, who are clearly malicious in intent, such as a-hole scumbags like Jonathan Yaniv. But I'm going to suggest that most LGBT people are actually innocent fools. And what's happened with the passage of this law, supposedly to protect them, has turned their innocent expression, their attempt to get along. I would like you to call me this and that, these new pronouns, because I feel different and I want you to call me something different. The law has weaponized that without the knowledge, in many cases, of the person saying that thing. Hi, my name is John, and my pronouns are, alphabet and alpha and bravo. These are my pronouns. And innocent fool me thinks that this is just they think that all they're saying is, I would like you to call me that. It's like saying, please call me Mr., or please call me Doctor, or please call me His Majesty. And then this is all innocent, foolish stuff. We are all innocent fools. And yet the law has then swept in and turned innocent, foolish expression into a serious, deadly, possibly deadly threat. That you will say the words I have just given you, or I will end your career and take away your home. You'll be homeless. I will kick you out of your profession. Your company is going to get a massive lawsuit, and I'm going to drag you through a pseudo-criminal court, which decision will be ratified by the actual court, and I'm going to fucking ruin your life. Now, most innocent fools have no intention of involving any of that malevolent, malicious, evil nastiness, and yet the law has swept in and turned their innocent fool expression into a deadly threat, and many of them don't even know it. So my previous approach, saying, okay, you've just introduced yourself to me and threatened me, so guess what? You can go F yourself. Fuck off. I won't even talk to you anymore. Well, if you believe that all of this offering of here are my pronouns is made in the full knowledge of the threat behind them, okay, that makes sense. That bellicose, belligerent attitude that I normally have, and I am normally a belligerent and bellicose person, that all makes sense. But let's allow for people to be innocent fools, which almost everybody actually is, and say the following instead. Here we go. This is the actual point of the video. I recognize, and I'm just going to hypothetically say this to a person who said, here, my pronouns are A and B, okay? My pronouns are this and that. Okay, I recognize that you want to be called that. The problem is, though, the first problem is you can't tell people what to say, because as soon as you tell people what words to use, you're also telling them what to think. And as much as you might be indoctrinated in the social justice juice, you might be completely steeped in that Kool-Aid, it is an impossible task to control other people's thoughts. That it's a purely impossible task. It's totalitarian and malicious, first of all, and innocent fools might not recognize this, so I'm going to allow that the person is an innocent fool. But first of all, you can't control other people, and if you try, you will become miserable. You will think that every time somebody escapes your control, you're being hard done by. You're being oppressed or abused. When in fact, you're being a totalitarian, hyper-controlling jackwagon, and people are simply trying to escape that malevolence, that totalitarian impulse that you're now exhibiting. Now, I allow that you have been dipped in this juice. You have been marinated in it, and you believe in it. The other part is that people are going to hate you. When you try to control people's thoughts, when you try to tell them, you will say these words, therefore you will think these thoughts, not only will they not say the words you want and not think the thoughts you want, they will think you are a scumbag. They will hate you. So this whole idea of telling people what pronouns to use, especially under the threat of law, this has been a horrible prank played by the LGBT activists, the allies, against the LGBT people themselves, who, for the most part, I'm going to guess, are innocent fools. What you've done is you've created a dynamic that everybody is going to hate the LGBT person who says, here are my pronouns, this and that. These are my pronouns. I want you to call me this and that, or they and them, or whatever these words are. First of all, you've just created a dynamic where people are being forced to do something that they don't want, being forced to think something that they're not going to think, and what they're actually going to think is that you're a C word. You're an a-hole. And they're going to hate you. And the person trying to say, here are my pronouns, what you're trying to do is force people to do something that you can't. You can't actually control them. So you're going to be constantly frustrated and constantly being told by your allies that you're being oppressed, that the people escaping that oppression that you're trying to put on them, that control, you're going to perceive that as them doing you harm, when in fact they see themselves as being persecuted by you. The only sane exit from this is to just stop the pronoun game. Stop playing this game. Stop trying to control what other people say, and then they'll love you. When you stop trying to control people, you stop trying to tell them what to say and therefore thereby what to think, that's how people will begin to love you and treat you as a decent human being. Because the whole pronoun game, nobody's going to treat you like a decent human being, because although you might think you're an innocent fool, what you have in your hand isn't the offering of, hi, here's my name. It's, I have a weapon in my hand and you better comply. So let's not play that game. Let's not play, I'm going to force you to comply, because first of all, nobody will comply. They will hate you. And because you're drinking that Kool-Aid, you're going to perceive their escape from your control as them victimizing you. Everybody is made miserable by this. The LGBT allies have done the most harmful and honestly malicious disservice to the actual LGBT community that honestly that anybody can imagine. A villain plot in a comic book couldn't do worse harm than this. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Thanks for listening, and thanks for helping support the channel on Patreon and Subscribestar. And as always, have a lovely, lovely day.